got together that 4th of July day. That's when the land you're standing on became the US of A. United we will stand, but divided we fall. One nation under God says it all. Men are created equal, words written in by hand. They all stand to fight when a cry for freedom rings. Freedom isn't free, it comes with a cost. One nation under God says it all. One nation under God says it all. This whole world's changing, it's changing every day. For the land of the free and the home of the brave. Stand up everybody, stand proud and tall. One nation under God says it all.
Good evening and welcome to IITW Radio. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about tonight, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. On the phone as usual every Tuesday night, have Mr. Greg Williams. Check you out.
Hello.
Check you out looking all professional with your tie and stuff.
Hey, good to be here today.
I love that tie.
Loosened up a little bit, yeah. Got my America, Make America Great Again tie. Okay? Make America Great Again. Okay.
Yeah, I love that tie. What are you trying to get me to wear one? I got my patriotic shirt on. Look.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. There you go.
It don't get any more patriotic than Roll Tide.
Still in recovery over there in Alabama, I know.
Yeah, Roll Tide. I got the hat on, the sweatshirt on. None of my other staff has that stuff on, though. That sucks.
Hey, it's all right. We know Alabama got their feelings hurt. Clemson hurt their feelings.
Not on their feelings, they got their butts kicked.
Yeah,
Okay.
things happen.
Let me give my shout outs real quick. There's D. Oh, God, I don't know if I can even keep up with these tonight. Greg, Tracy, and D. Miss Debbie, Tammy, my partner
Hey,
in
this
crime.
is my Beto O'Rourke impression.
Kathy and D. Huh?
My impression of Beto O'Rourke at the dentist.
I'm not going to say what that looks like, but
Beto O'Rourke
he got some.
at the dentist.
He got some
Knocking
pretty
the
teeth.
wall at the dentist.
Yeah, he got some pretty teeth, don't he?
They are really weird over there on the left side of the aisle. I'll put it that way.
I don't want to see somebody getting their teeth clean, even if they are running for president.
I don't know what's more disgusting: Pocahontas drinking a beer or Beto O'Rourke getting his teeth clean.
Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
Nancy Pelosi, she is the odds-on favorite to win the over 80 beauty pageant.
Yeah, that's funny.
Washington Post is going to sponsor it this year.
You would have Dianne Feinstein. You would have, never mind. I don't even think that's nasty. Can you imagine a swimsuit part of that?
Pelosi's a beautiful woman. She still identifies as a woman, the last I heard.
I don't want to see her in a swimsuit, though. Oh, wait, never mind. They cut that part out, so we're good. I wonder if they would have the beer drinking competition.
Oh, wow.
So, okay, so yesterday Trump has Clemson, the football team. You know, they won the national titleship.
I saw that. I was pretty impressed. The guy went out and got him some McDonald's burgers. I like that.
They got McDonald's,
Hey,
Burger King.
all I can say is the government shut down because Pelosi's an idiot.
Miss Debbie said, "Hey, Travis and Sitting Bull." And my sister said, "Oh, my sister's watching tonight. Holy crap!" Okay, we can't talk about her.
She an Indian too? We're all Indians here.
Yeah, yeah. She's really Indian. You don't want to mess with her. Yeah, but I thought that was pretty cool that Trump got them all American meals. I mean, what's more American than? And now they're saying he's cheap. They called him a racist. And then when he said, you know, about Melania and them making salads or whatever. So he goes out and gets pizza, hamburgers, fries, and salads.
Great.
Them boys didn't
Hey,
look like they were unhappy with it.
the White House. Hey, things happen, you know.
You see the quarterback?
Florida State. Hey, Florida State didn't even go. Obama was too stupid to invite Florida State last time they won the national championship.
Yeah.
The politically correct Obama. It was Jameis Winston was too much for the politically correct Obama.
I thought that was pretty cool, though. I mean, I'd love to go to the White House and them say, I don't want a fancy steak. Hell, give me a Big Mac and a chicken sandwich. They said because he served.
You can get a Big Mac at the White House. How about that?
What I'm on seeing, I think
maybe
it was.
They should shut the government down every year and do it more often.
Hey, I don't care about any of the Big Mac.
Is that Nash? What's up, Nash?
I just want to meet
Cash Barlow, the gray hair, a lawyer next to me.
This is not laughing.
Yeah, live.
Live right now.
Yeah, it is.
Go ahead. Don't be afraid.
No,
Guys.
I'm not going to say anything.
He could get in
He's
there.
going to say something. He's afraid that some liberal judge may take it the
I
wrong
just want
way.
to say that I want to meet Melania.
Oh yeah, well, I like Melania too.
Forget the hamburger.
Right. I'd like to meet Melania myself. I think, hey, she's the finest first lady since Jackie O.
Yeah, she has some class. There's no doubt about
She
that.
does.
Well, Barbara Bush had some besides her attitude.
I know you do.
Class act.
I know you do.
Yeah, tell him to get back on the air. Hell, we'll have him on tonight.
He don't know any better. He's working on somebody. He's working on some crazy case.
Laura said, "Hey y'all, it's time
some
for."
crazy civil matter. Somebody getting jacked up by somebody trying to use the system to get in somebody's pocket. They call it the redistribution of wealth. Only in America. Get successful and get sued.
Yeah, Laura said, "It's time for a margarita," and she said, "So what's going on? Do the Italian meal and whatever else comes with a bull crap menu, right?" I don't know, man. I kind of like that they did hamburgers and fries. I mean, that's like all American.
Whatever. It's what it is. I mean, they didn't, they got a meal. They got to go to the White House. They're lucky.
Are you kidding? When I was in college, holy crap, I would have killed for that stuff, especially all you can eat. And he paid for it out of his own pocket.
I wouldn't be surprised. The guy does a lot of good things. It's a shame we have such a dishonest media. It's a shame we've got all those idiots in CNN, all those immoral bastards at CNN poisoning the damn political discourse of the country with their dishonest reporting.
Did you see the one woman drinking a beer? What was her name?
Pocahontas.
Who is she? The old white one.
She's some crazy white woman going around telling everybody she's an Indian. I don't know what the hell.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Last week she was on there.
She said that she's a white woman. I think she acknowledged that she actually is white.
I don't even think the whites are even going to recognize her now.
Harvard, though. Harvard still thinks she's an Indian.
Why doesn't Harvard ask for their money back?
I don't know, because they're that stupid at Harvard. They still believe in 70s discredited socialism.
I wonder how many years it took her to pass.
That stupid in our Ivy League schools. It's unbelievable. The Ivy League has gone down. It's gone down the pot. It is the ignorance at the Ivy League in terms of social sciences is unbelievable.
Okay, so we're into day
There's no objective science anymore. I mean, they've politicized science. They have turned science into the dark ages. It is unbelievable. The 18 global warming models, 17 of them are crap. They just made it up as they went. The science was completely poisoned. And then you've got these ignorant people on the left proclaiming it to be sound. That's what's so stupid about these people at NBC and all these mainstream media people. It's unbelievable.
Well, according to Al Gore back in, what was it, 2014, by 2018, Florida would be underwater from global warming. All the polar caps would have melted. I don't know. I'm still sitting here.
Yeah, well, it's what it is. I mean, the waves still crash. They still crash. The surf is still the surf. There's still fish in the sea. you know, we want to be stewards of the environment, but we're not going to be necessarily controlled by it. We're man, for crying out loud. We are, we are frankly, we're created in the image of God. We run the earth. You know, all this food and plants there. It's all part of the bountiful earth that we need to take care of for future generations. So we can do that without getting dishonest about everything. And we got to understand that we're the cleanest industrial country you'll find. We're very, this country, while we have some pollution problems and certain hot spots, we're by and large, we're very clean compared to Western Europe, Eastern Europe, China. Give me a break. London, England, probably the dirtiest city in America. I mean, in the world. London, all that smog from all that diesel fumes. I don't know what these guys are thinking over there. I do think while we're talking about England, they do need to just say, "Screw you, Europe. We're out, and we'll just negotiate our own way. We'll find our way." I think that the European Union needed Great Britain more than Great Britain needed them, and Great Britain was a part of it. They did a lot of things for Europe, and Europe's way too big for their britches over there. I mean, there's not even free speech in Europe. They don't even have a constitution anything like America. They have none of the freedoms that you and I take for granted over there in Europe.
Oh, I know.
Somebody,
You know what we should do next week, next Tuesday night? I don't drink beer, but I think we ought to have a beer on the air to show people how cool we are.
I don't know if that's cool or not. I mean, I've drank enough beer in my life. Beer, Ben Franklin, beer is proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy. I got to hang it in the office. It's a wonderful thing. Beer is good, but too much beer will make you fat. Take it from me. I learned the hard way.
I saw that on one of the growers out in California. It said God makes us want to be happy. That's why he invented pot. And on the seventh day, he created light. On the first day, he created plant or something. I forget what it was. But, yeah, we're into the 25th day of the shutdown. How much longer do you think it's going to last?
The question is, how dumb are the Democrats? I mean, I like the fact that it's a shutdown. I think we should shut it down more often. There's so much bureaucracy. There's so much fat in government. Anything we can do to shut it down, I'm all about. So, in answer to your question, I think it's going to be another 2 or 3 payrolls. And when the federal workers finally have had enough, they can talk to Pelosi and tell her to give Trump the $5 billion, which is peanuts compared to all the waste they've got. They give far more than that to the PLO, for crying out loud.
Well, yeah, they're giving $54 billion overseas right now. They already proved that.
Yeah, it's amazing. These people are so dumb over there in Congress. They're the deep state's running the country. Department of Justice is as crooked as it's ever been. There's no credibility with the FBI. And now the left is so far up the FBI's ass. It's unbelievable. The lefters like, oh my goodness. Oh, good. Take all of our data. You can have it now. The left used to be the people that stood up for civil liberties and individual rights, but not anymore. The left has vacated everything they've done. I mean, they've just poured themselves out to be nothing more than a special interest voice for a special interest group, and the hell with the mainstream of the country. The hell with the country, what's good for the country. We only care about our little special interest, whatever the special interest du jour is at the time.
Oh, you got Chuck. If they really wanted to, if you don't think there's a deep state, somebody wrote in and said there's no deep state. Okay, here's calling crap and foul on you. Here's calling crap and foul on them, because a deep state, here's part of a deep state. When the Democratic Party decides they're going to go on vacation down in Puerto Rico, and they're going to be out on the beach sunning during the day. Now, of course, they have meetings, to be fair to the Democrats. They did have a couple meetings.
Did Menendez bring his own hooker or what?
I don't know, probably. But they're down there and they're sunning while Trump is up here. And now Trump is up here and he's saying today, as a matter of fact, let's have a meeting and sit down and talk about this and see if we can work it out. They all have refused, every freaking one of them. have refused to meet with Trump. They've called a boycott on meeting with him to get our workers back to the pay. What they ought to do is cut their pay. And Nancy Pelosi's $196 million freeze her freaking bank account.
You know what?
Oops.
They have been in power
Beep.
now, and they can't even fund the security of the country. They've done nothing but make the southern border more unsafe. They fan the flames for these poor ignorant people are going to try to risk their lives coming up here, when you know what, they might have been better off where they were, or they may have been able to work their way up. I mean, you know, how are they going to reform their own countries if they're all leaving their own countries?
Well, the Hondurans. Right now you got 2,000 Honduras people headed this way. Another migrant band flowing this way. Somebody's giving me a oops, like, because I threw the F-bomb out there real quick. I caught myself. I had to beat myself.
We love all immigrants. We just want to be legal, okay? It is what it is. We can't have everybody in the hemisphere move into America, okay? We have to have guest worker permits and some sort of orderly way to do it. And we talked about it, I think, last week. Ellis Island, they did it right there. They had a regulated, organized system. They knew who was coming. They knew who was going. They knew what you were about. What your intentions were. Nothing like this. I mean, hell, when Obama was in power, they were just green-lighting every Muslim they could find. They didn't care if they were a terrorist or not. They still don't know. You know, so we need to have a better, more organized immigration policy. Everybody knows that, except the Democrats. But why? Why are they so against the wall? That's a rhetorical question for you, Travis.
Oh, why? Because there goes half their voters.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that the Democrats want illegal people to vote? Illegally?
What was
They're going to cheat us out of our votes in America?
What was the statistic that was thrown out at you today?
8 million people in California, 8 million illegals with driver's licenses are registered to vote. That's the last number I heard. 8 million illegal registered voters in California. And I had a financial consultant come back and tell me that they're all voting, that everybody knows they vote. And that's why the Democrats keep wanting to have no borders. They want all these illegals to come in and vote Democrats because they know their policies suck and are bad for the country. And only an ignorant immigrant who don't even speak the language can vote for them.
Well, I saw on CNN. I saw
some lawyers that I know, they'll vote for the Democrats. I never figured that out, but I guess they want to be the 1% that rule the Democrat Party.
I saw on CNN where they said that Trump is calling for these Hondurans to come up right now so that he can go ahead and get his wall and make his point. I don't think so. I think the Hondurans know that here shortly, Trump is going to declare a national emergency.
There's going to be a wall. Yeah, you're right.
If you're going to get in, you better get your butt here now, because in a couple of months, it ain't going to happen. Now,
well, no, look. I mean, we can't take everybody that wants to get in, okay? Maybe you have 10 or 20 countries and you take, 1,000 people. That's a lot of people right there. I mean, how many, people are going to be bringing in all the time? Gee, it's unbelievable.
Well, I had a group of millennials that I kind of got into a controversy on with Facebook the other day. And they were telling me, oh, well, why don't you just take your money and build the wall? Blah, 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 blah. And there shouldn't be a wall. And I'm like, okay, you guys are too young to remember 9/11. There was only a handful of terrorists that brought this country to its knees during 9/11. I remember it. You remember it.
The millennials in our country are so damn dumb, thanks to our pathetic education that they've received the last 20 years. There's a lot of dumb people with degrees. There's a lot of dumb people walking around that are so-called educated that think socialism is the way to go. They also don't even know what a civics book is, because for years, the state of Florida didn't even teach civics. or and they barely taught history. It's amazing.
They still don't
Again,
teach civics.
we need to be teaching history. We need to be teaching civics. We need to educate our kids instead of indoctrinate our kids on socialism. I mean, this whole idea that we don't need a border is absurd.
Yeah, it's freaking nuts. Okay,
but I don't think that young people are that stupid. I think that there are smart young people that get it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of stupidity there. I had my daughter's 13. Her teacher sent her a civics project home to write a paper about Pelosi. So I tried to help out a little bit. She is the third most powerful politician in the country. So we joke about her, but if something happened to the president and the vice president, she's the next in line to be, the ruling mullah. So the fact is that's scary because she's dumb as a box of rocks. I don't know who's dumber, Pelosi or Warren.
Here's one for Nancy Pelosi. Okay, when she got up to do Obamacare, we have to pass it to find out what's in it. Okay, let's just go ahead and pass our budget right now, and then we'll find out what's in it later.
Dumb, and beholden to the deep state, okay? The biggest problem with Obamacare, aside the fact there was all these pages, is it created like hundreds of thousands of pages of regulations. As a matter of fact, if we didn't kill Obamacare, they'd still be doing more regulations now on it. It's thank God they got rid of that stupid penalty that made people not want to earn a living. These people, the government is this. Our Democrat Party is what's wrong with America. It's what's wrong with democracy in America right now. The Democrats, by and large, are crooked, corrupt, and lost. Frankly, they're lost. I mean, the JFK, the Democratic Party of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, is long gone.
I tell you what, the Republicans aren't much better. They've had time to pass all this stuff in the past, and they have dragged their feet.
Rhinos. You can't call a rhino. You can't call Ryan a Republican. I mean, I know Romney's a Republican, and I know Ryan's a Republican, but those guys, they were what they call the, rhinos, the Chamber of Commerce types, and, that's all nice and dandy. They care more about business. I mean, there's an element of the Republican Party that didn't want to fix the wall either. Yeah, I'd say it's 15% of the Republican Party is the Chamber of Commerce people that want open borders, for lack of a better expression. You can't have open borders and be a country.
I'm going to have you as an independent real quick. These guys have kicked the can down the road so far, Republicans and Democrats. They need to figure out what is going on with the people of the United States and what they want, not what the hell they want. Take away their paychecks right now and freeze their bank accounts until they figure this thing out. Because sitting down and
they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that.
Well, they just had the lobbyists paying for their jets.
These are the same people that routinely exclude themselves from the very laws they make us all follow.
Yeah,
so it's as Donald Trump said. They're trying to rig the system over here. These immigration laws are terrible. They're the worst immigration laws in the world, and we need to do a better job. And we're the friendliest country, the greatest country in the world. We still have the Statue of Liberty. We just want people to come in legally. It's not that hard. Have a border, have a wall, and have all the other good stuff. But you got to have a combination of all of it.
Yeah. Well, the one way to shut this thing down, because there's so much drugs that come across southern borders, 80% of the drugs that come into the United States come in through the southern borders, according to the statistics. Now, if they would do it like they do with pot, make pot legal, okay, pot, that has dropped the drug cartels thing down 50% in California, Colorado, all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Well, prohibition creates crime anyway. I've been down on the drug war for a long time because it creates a lot more crime. We've got 2 generations of young people growing up without fathers because their dad was on a street corner dealing cocaine or whatever they were selling back in the 90s. And that's tough. I mean, it's tough. I think beware what you ask for. These draconian drug sentences were terrible.
Well, I'm trying to figure out Why the Dems won't sit down?
Drugs are terrible. I don't know. The whole thing is a mess. What?
I'm trying to figure out why the Democrats won't sit down in order to negotiate something out. Okay, Trump has came in and the Republicans and said, okay, we're going to give you the Dreamers Act. We're going to go ahead and let them stay. We're going to let some 30 million illegals stay in the United States. If they don't get any more trouble, we're going to give them a 10-year path to citizenship. He's already given them everything they want.
He would. They wouldn't take it. They haven't gotten anything. See, these Democrats are going to screw the pooch. They're gonna screw themselves because that's what they do.
But they're calling
it's
us
all going to blow up on them. The whole Mueller investigation's a crock to begin with. How come it was such a one-sided investigation? Why, if they were really interested in Russian collusion, they would have looked at the Obama White House. They would have looked at Obama's minions in the FBI and the Department of Justice. It's a miracle we got as far as we did.
Yeah, Stan wrote.
If Hillary would have won, it would have all been covered up.
Stan wrote in and said the war on drugs is $1 trillion failure, and he is absolutely right on that.
He's right. I agree.
Okay, well, what do you think about William Barr for the Attorney General? Did you happen to catch any of his confirmation hearing today?
Some of it today. I was impressed by him. I think that he's a little old school. I'm not a fan of his forfeiture law support. Forfeiture laws are where the government can take your car or your boat, or they found a joint on it. It got really ridiculous, and it's really enriched the government, and it kind of creates an incentive for law enforcement to be less than honest. Because face it, hey, if you say, hey, there was some drugs in a vehicle or in a location, then you seize it. That doesn't seem very fair to me. But other than that, I like him. I think he's good on everything. But see, most prosecutors are for asset forfeiture laws. I've never been a fan because I think they create problems. I think that they can be an incentive for law enforcement corruption. Let's face it, there's an element of corruption inside law enforcement. There's an element of corruption inside the Department of Justice. We saw James Comey, what a dishonest person he is. This guy still thinks, Comey's so delusional, he still thinks he's doing the right thing. He still thinks what he did was right. That's sad. These people, that was treason what went on against Trump, but they haven't, figured that out yet. So it is what it is.
Well, as soon as he got fired, it's kind of funny how the FBI went ahead and opened up an investigation into him when Rosenstein was the one that said, or Rosenstein was the one that said, hey, he needs to be fired.
Hey, another reason that I support Barr is because as soon as he's in, Rosenstein is out, okay? Get the vote done. Rosenstein's already come out and said he's leaving. Frankly, he's being forced out. He should have been canned a while ago. And I'm hoping that then the Justice Department can start to heal, because they need a lot of healing and a lot of soul searching. And I don't believe they've gotten rid of all the trash. I think they still need to take some trash out of there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Dina just joined in.
Some dishonest anti-Trump people that are actively working against the president as we speak right now.
Well, for all the potheads listening out there in Radio Land, Barr today said that he will not go after any of the states under federal law because marijuana is listed as a class 1 narcotic. They're on the
They're going to
top
change
one.
that pretty soon. I don't know why they haven't changed it yet. They need to change that stupid classification.
Congress isn't going to do anything now. There's too much fighting going on between Dems and Republicans.
I figure Pelosi, that pot-smoking grandma, would be on board with. Because Pelosi hits the bong. She's out there in San Francisco. Yeah, she's hitting the bong.
We have to pass it to find out what's in it. Pass it.
You'd be surprised how many people over 80 are smoking pot. Willie Nelson swears by it.
Oh, yeah. There's a bunch of them that do. But I can see Nancy Pelosi now. Now it all makes sense to me. Where this came in, you have to pass it to find out what's in it. Here, put a bud in here. Here, pass it and find out what's in it.
Oh, that's too good. That's too good. Hey, the times they are a changing.
And no more Barney Fife. It's not one bullet anymore. And now they're going
Yeah.
back, it's just freaking nuts. Now they're going back on it because we had a couple of active shooters here recently. One at, what was it, UCF up in, where's it, Virginia?
Hey, that ain't nothing. We got active shooters every day of the year in Jacksonville.
Yep. Oh, there's no doubt about that. I had to turn my police scanner off.
Hey, for full disclosure, I don't take many shooting cases. I take a few shooting cases. They're never pretty, and it's always sad. But it is what it is. The last shooting case I got, we did real well on, but somebody's going to jail on this. I mean, you don't pull a gun out and use it to assault people or commit crime unless you want to get life, because really that's ultimately what the state's going to be looking for. And we have way too many of those. They've been doing a lot of these things where they go to these little gambling houses now or whatever they're doing, and they try to rob them with a gun, and and they hit those places all the time. It's like the new thing. They're starting to get caught.
Let me ask you something. You've been in law for like 1,000 years now. Did you see over in St. Pete where there was 6 people that last year they had kidnapped a 6-year-old boy, and then they were filming him using it as a sex slave. They just busted him over here in St. Pete, Florida.
Good.
And the cops came in.
They all get life. That's terrible.
How in the hell do all these criminals find each other? I mean, is there like one certain website, criminals.com?
I don't know. Look, you wonder how they catch any of them. Thank goodness criminals aren't typically the smartest people in the world. That's why they get caught frequently. But not all of them get caught, and that's a scary thought. So it is what it is. We want law enforcement the people in law enforcement to be in it for the right reasons, because there's so many good people in law enforcement, but it doesn't take but 2% of police department that's crooked. Hell, that could be 20 or 30 officers, and that could do a lot of damage to the force. So you don't want any of that. You wonder how any get caught for, because there are some police officers that'll plant drugs. Okay, and that's not good. They don't need to do that.
Well, every now and again,
some will do it, and ultimately some get caught.
You know what doesn't make any sense to me? Every now and then, you'll see where one cop goes rogue and he shoots a guy, and the whole freaking left goes nuts. Everybody goes nuts. The Black Lives Matters, the Antifa, all these guys and gals go nuts. But you got an illegal immigrant that'll shoot an innocent person here. And the page, it's not just one or two. The list is freaking like 40 or 50 in the last 2 years.
They don't even want to cover it in the media.
But how come they're worried about one cop?
It's almost like a double standard. It's like, gee, if you're an illegal alien and you go and shoot somebody and you're in a sanctuary city, don't worry, you can go out and commit more crime. You're in a sanctuary city. We're not even going to prosecute you, and we're certainly not going to turn you over.
Obar today said he is not for sanctuary cities. I almost stood up and started cheering.
That's ridiculous. I think that ultimately, you don't want to interfere with the law.
Yeah, Stan wrote in, and I guess he says, notice you don't hear about Black Lives Matters anymore. And he's absolutely right. They get kicked to the curb.
Yeah, I guess it's what took over? What took all their win? I mean, aside from the fact that they're endorsed by people like Farrakhan,
Antifa.
What do you think kicked them off the front page? You think it's all this immigration or the government shutdown? What do you think it is?
Well, I think what things have done is rolled over to get away from. It seems to me that people in politics, whenever there's one thing that happens, they roll it over real quick to the next thing and then make something else hype. Okay, for example, you had the womanizing and people, Joe Piscopo. Okay, he's feeling up a woman's tits on, an airplane, a service member.
No, that was Joe Piscopo. Wait a minute.
I mean, not Joe Piscopo. I'm sorry, Joe.
I'm so and so, and you're not. What's his name?
Al Franken. Al Franken, not Joe Piscopo.
You're not, yeah.
Correction to.
Of his book. He's a pretty funny guy.
Yeah. Correction to Joe Piscopo. Actually, like Joe Piscopo. Al Franken. Okay, and you got all these different senators and Congress people, and then all of a sudden it goes from that to Trump collusion. Okay, now they don't find any collusion. Now they're finding out that the freaking FBI had launched an investigation after Comey got fired. You have Strzok,
The dirty
you
FBI.
have Strzok and Page, the lovebirds in the FBI, and then you have Rosenstein, you have Nettie Orr, Fusion GPS, all this stuff piling up on the Democrats, and all of a sudden they're making it about the freaking wall. Okay, what about the wall? They a few years ago, every one of them, and I
They
watched
all voted for the wall. That's the whole hypocrisy of it. They all voted for the wall, and of course they all have walls around their property. Most of them.
well,
So it is what it is.
I went on-
We don't have a lot of confidence in the left. The Dems, make no mistake, the Dems are a left-wing organization. They're not left of center. They're left-wing. They're out there. There was some fake news today. You know that idiot? I think they call her AOC now, the 28-year-old socialist that used to be a bartender. You know, New York, I mean, they elected Hillary Clinton. They'll elect anybody to office in New York. So they elected this bartender that graduated from Boston University, that knows economics, that allegedly was a conservative when she was there, but now she's the darling of the socialists because she's spouting all this socialism. But anyway, she came up with this 70% income tax idea a week ago. Today on Newsmax, some bogus survey, Americans support income tax rate of 70%. Now that's fake news.
yeah, my ass.
People that actually make a living don't support confiscatory income tax.
Yeah, that was
I can tell you
Cortez.
that.
That was Cortez that said that.
Yeah.
You know what I did?
Yeah,
Like,
But now they're trying to say, mainstream it out further and say the American people support that idea, which is completely fake news.
yeah, you know what? I went this past week. I went on a freaking libertard site, right? Or a libertarian site. Anyway, it says all left wings on there, and I put comments like,
Libertarians are pretty, live and let live people.
I put it was a left wing site, and it was a Democratic site, and I'm not going to give the Congresswoman whose site it is, and I started posting some stuff like, the beliefs of the American people should be $25 billion for the wall. Do not let illegals come in. And what I did was I took statements from Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all the stuff they put up there.
Take it down immediately.
No, they told me that I should take my Republican ass off of their page, right? That those are bogus comments, that they should not be allowed on the internet, period.
Real comments, but see, that's the Democrat way. They'll shout you down.
And I put on there.
The Democrats love to shout people down. You're yelling.
Or
you're yelling at me, or I'm going to shout you down. What you say is not true.
What?
You can't talk.
I put
You're
on there.
banned from campus.
I put on
We're
there.
gonna get rid of your blog.
I put on that website. I said, "Well, did you know that was the comments from Obama, from Joe Biden, from Nancy Pelosi, from Dianne Feinstein?" And I put all these different things on there. I listed their names right beside the comments. Frickin' crickets after that. 5 minutes later, all my comments were gone. And they had 200 or 300 people just bashing the hell out of me.
You should some level of intellectual discourse. My left-wing Democrat friends, they think they're so smart.
Yeah. Hey, next week you need to get Cash on here with us.
Hey, Cash is too busy making money.
He's making all that money. We had to give him a shout out. Where can people go to have them represent him? Go to Greg Williams Law.
Hey, well, if I can't help you, I'll try to find somebody else that can.
Yeah, I like Cash. We'll have to get him on there one night.
He does a lot of civil work. He's a pretty good guy.
Oh, my buddy Bob just joined in. You know Bob. Painter Bob?
Yeah, Bob's a great guy. He's got that great car dealership, not dealership, but the car repair place.
Yeah, he does the spray paint and everything. Yeah, he's getting ready to paint Chris's Mustang up for him here pretty soon. He's got a little bit of body work.
What's the name of Bob's shop?
Eastside Towing and Collision.
Eastside Towing and Collision?
Yeah, in East Palaca.
He does pretty good work. He's a good mechanic.
That's incredible. You should see this Harley tank he just did.
Wow.
We went up for a little while and worked on Chris's car today. There's his ad right there.
What I like him is he's good underneath the car and underneath the hood too. So that's what's good about this guy. He's good underneath the hood, underneath the car.
He's a single dad too, raising 2 kids by
How about
himself. Yep. I've met
Hey,
his
how about our new governor?
DeSantis.
He's doing a hell of a job. He got off to a fast start.
Oh
We
yeah.
got some new Supreme Court judges. He top shelf people. He made on our Supreme Court. These guys are like the Trump court. They're like federalists. They're very disciplined in the law, and they're not out there to make law, which is what I like. And they'll follow the law. And I'm happy with the Supreme Court. And he's a lot more progressive. I say progressive. He's better on the medical marijuana than Scott, who is really slow walking everything. So I think that DeSantis today said that, well, the people, when they passed it, they were thinking you could smoke it to get better. So they're now going to allow people to smoke marijuana medically, as opposed to having to smoke the oil, or they had some oil or whatever. I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah, they're vape pens.
So I thought that was a pretty good step, for pain relief for people that, don't want to wait.
Oh, they should give it to him. And the one thing that he did that I almost stood up and started.
As a politician to me, but go ahead.
Almost stood up and started cheering. Did you see what he did to the sheriff down in Broward County?
Yeah, I finally fired that incompetent asshole.
Yep.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but that guy was an incompetent jerk. Liberals like that probably shouldn't be running a major city's police department. You can't let everybody go that you arrest, or you can't go and a guy that should be arrested, you're not going to arrest. Okay, really, all you're doing is putting the community in danger and in harm's way.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people that need to be locked up, folks, and they need to call me when they're locked up. Not just kidding, yeah. But seriously though, there are people that that just can't live in a free society, and for whatever reason, and that's why we have law and order. I mean, we can't have chaos out there. There's laws. We need to teach our kids to respect the law. And there you have it.
Yep. Man, I tell you what, I guess
Hey,
no,
so we both agree that DeSantis is doing a pretty good job right out of the chute.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see what he does next.
Hey, it's amazing how close Gil Obama came to winning that race.
Oh yeah, it would have been.
A lot of people were afraid Gil Obama was going to win. I felt that the people of Florida were smarter than that. I mean, Gil Obama was untested. Being the mayor of a college town is nothing like being a governor of a state with 22 million people.
Hey, I got a lady that's going to be on here in a couple of weeks. Her name is Teresa. She's a home health provider. Let me ask you this, what you think about this, to get off this other subject for just a second. People that want assisted suicide, they got bone cancer or whatever, and she takes care of a lot of people. And her last...
I got 2 words for that. Medical marijuana.
Well,
it's my answer to every medical question you've got.
Well, do you think... Hey, man, brother.
It's a miracle truck, baby.
Well, where were they 30 years ago when I was in school? They should have passed it then.
It
I would have
there
claimed...
all along, and only a few people knew.
I would have said I had glaucoma back in high school. Now I'm too old to smoke the crap.
I used to argue medical marijuana defenses before it was in vogue. I did it twice, and on both occasions, the judges put my client in jail. So I quit arguing medical marijuana, and I shifted gears because I was too far in front of the curve.
Because Stan said cannabis oil.
Yeah, I had one guy years ago, and I remember arguing. I was trying to get him probation, and the judge gave him 6 months in the county. He had some felony pot on him. And I remember arguing that, it's medical and it makes him feel good. And the judge looked at him and said, "What's it do for you?" And my client, right out, like, I don't know why he did it, but he did it. He immediately rubbed his stomach, and he said it made his tummy feel better. And the judge said she'd heard enough and gave him 6 months in county. Unbelievable.
She told her, I walk into walls. I have glaucoma. Lee just joined in. But on this thing with
20 years ago, 25 years ago, hey, you know,
the
names
assisted
have been changed to protect the innocent. Go ahead.
with the assisted suicide, I mean, she's been covering people. Now I would hate to have her job because she was talking about switching fields later on. How do you walk? First of all, how do you walk in and go
in
to
Washington State? It's legal. I think there's 1 or 2 states in the country that it may be legal in. I don't think it's legal in Florida. You know, people are going to do what they're going to do. I'm not a fan of any of that myself. I think life is precious, and you know,
how many for
you know,
terminally ill
I'm
patients?
like resuscitate me.
Oh, I know. I told him, give me a DR, DR, DR. And the doctor said, what's that? I said, do resuscitate, do resuscitate, do resuscitate.
Yeah,
Try,
me.
try for
Let me
18
see
hours.
How many lives I've got? Maybe 9. Let's go for it.
If you can't resuscitate me within 18 hours, then give up. Between now and then, keep going.
More than
Artificial
that's
life
crazy,
support.
but there are those cases, and you know, modern miracles do happen. So you know, as long as you have faith, anything can happen. I think.
Yeah, somebody's talking. There are a couple of people writing in about the pot thing that's going like crazy. I think personally, a person should be able to do whatever the hell they want to do. If they want to smoke crack or meth, give them a little township and say, here.
Well, you know, I think you should draw the line. I don't think you should let them smoke anything. I mean, next thing you know, here, how about this toxic asphalt? Or how about this salt that you normally bathe with? No, you don't need people doing stupid shit like that. That's ridiculous.
Hey.
No, I think the only thing that should be legal is marijuana. Everything else should be illegal. It should be a hard drug, soft drug policy. Marijuana is really more of a plant. It's more akin to tobacco, or it's more akin to lettuce, you know, or romaine lettuce, or basil.
Well, that's what beer is.
You know, it's a plant, for crying out loud.
Beer's made from
consumed. It's there for men, you know, men to use. It's got medicinal qualities to it.
I don't see why somebody has
been smoking it for years.
I don't see why somebody hasn't come up with marijuana alcohol. I mean, because if you got beer is yeast and hops.
Yeah, well, the beer companies are buying marijuana companies, but most importantly, as an Indian, you and Elizabeth Warren would know that the American Indians have been smoking pot for a long time.
Oh, they
Is
put
that what was originally smoked in the peace pipe?
Yeah, they put peyote in it and white Indian sage. I remember my grandfather used to do that stuff. They would be tripping ass too.
Wow. Next thing you know, they'll make that illegal.
Oh yeah, I used to see them when I was a kid. We would go up to the Indian reservation up in Cherokee. They would take a big butt of weed, some peyote button that they would get out of Texas, and then they would put white Indian sage in it, and that's why they saw the white wolves.
Yeah, I bet.
They'd be tripping.
Carlos Castaneda did write a whole series of books.
They'd be tripping ass all across in the teepee, their smokehouse.
Wow, I know. So there you have it.
They closed the flap on the top. As a little kid,
yeah.
Saw all kinds of stuff. You don't go to bed, you're going to see nightmares. Stay in the smokehouse.
You know, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about the lack of candor with our mainstream media. It's very concerning that our media is so in bed with the left, so in bed with the Democrats. And then you have people like Paul Ryan embarrassing the Republican Party. In 2 years, you're the Speaker of the House and you couldn't get a border wall funded. You know, the only thing Paul Ryan did, he got the tax cut done because he liked that. He didn't give a damn about the border wall. If he did, we'd have gotten one. So now Trump's got to do it the hard way. So we're going to have to do it. We got to do what we got to do.
Paul Kurt, one of my buddies, is a volunteer firefighter down in Georgetown, just joined in. But Stan wrote in and said that people were sold a pack of lies about cannabis. And he's absolutely right. If you ever get a chance, watch, there's a special that HBO had out years ago about why it was illegal, made illegal in the United States. And that's because at that time, the Democratic Party, now I did say the Democratic Party, wanted to keep the Mexicans out of the United States. So they named it marijuana, which was a Mexican term for cannabis. And it came as a great series, but you'd have to look it up. It was on HBO years ago.
Wow. So it was an anti-Mexican thing.
Yep, sure was. And they have all the
Well, I
government
thought
documents.
had something to do with it too.
I've read all the documents. It was never called marijuana. It was called cannabis sativa to all them.
Yeah.
And then when they wanted to keep the Mexicans out, it's when they outlawed it. This is back in the late 60s, early 70s, when the Mexicans were coming over and bringing it over in droves. But you could drive all over Arkansas, all over the United States, and see it growing as a wild weed until until the government
They
took.
wrote a song about that called the Wildwood Weed.
Yep. But they.
Sitting on a pack of speed. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you a story about that sometime.
Wildwood Weed.
Yeah, my uncle. Never mind. I'll tell you about that one time when I'm up in your
Problems
office.
in American democracy do not include the Wildwood Weed.
No, and when they did that and they made it to where it was a Mexican thing, so they could keep the Mexicans out by calling it marijuana, because that's what they called it down there. A lot of people don't understand. Stan put cannabis has been used for over 10,000 years. He's right. It's been around longer than that. I was watching a show the other night where, and I think it was on History or Discovery Channel, and they were showing where the Egyptians and the Romans were smoking that crap way before that, even that they were smoking it.
Grew it. It was great back in the day. Shit. I mean, it's amazing how many people were using it. I'm a big Peter Tosh fan. He wrote a lot of great reggae music and talked about marijuana a lot. And even in the 70s, it was illegal in Jamaica. You wouldn't have thought it, but it was apparently. But he had a lot of interesting things to say about marijuana, and a lot of them were true. He wrote a really good song about the legalized marijuana. As a matter of fact, you might want to get that one day and put it on your Rolodex of music. Peter Tosh's legalized marijuana. We could all listen to it before the show one day.
Yeah, I'll write it down and get them to check it out.
Yeah, Peter Tosh, legalized marijuana. What a song it was.
I'm writing it down.
Anyway, Morgan, you got to take your hats off to Captain Morgan, personal injury lawyer, Captain Morgan. He did a lot to get that medical marijuana initiative passed. He did a good job on that.
Yeah, I looked a lot into that, and I don't know if I want to say anything. He can't sue me anyway, so I ain't got squat to get. But that was because a lot of that had to do was if you go back and look, you'll see that he has a lot of money wrapped up into these growers. So he stands to gain a lot on it
I'm more power to him. You know what? I bought 150 shares of a marijuana stock. I hope to make a little money on it. I don't really care. I just think it might be a good investment.
You will eventually. I need it.
Yeah, it's legal in California. I think my stock is Aurora Cannabis. $7 a share. Miller Beer bought some of them. That's why I think I bought some of it. I don't know.
$7 a share. I could buy 2 shares right now.
Aurora
That's about it.
Cannabis stock. It's traded on the NASDAQ, I think.
Holy crap! We've already hit our hour mark. So I'm gonna let you get the last word.
Well, hey, all I can tell you is for the last 15 minutes or so, we've been talking about the medical marijuana and the legalization of cannabis and the many industrial uses of marijuana. And it's one of my favorite subjects because, well, I think it's good for the country. We built a interstate highway system on tobacco money. Let's rebuild it with marijuana money. Let's rebuild our infrastructure with money that we can raise from marijuana, whether it be medical or legal. I just think that there's an opportunity there.
I'll tell you next week.
What do you think?
Next week, instead of ragging on Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and them. I think we'll have a show next week on marijuana and the benefits. How's that sound?
We'll have to do some research on that.
Well, look, we
I'll have
wouldn't.
to do some research on that.
Some of our best.
Peter Williams wrote a really good book. Did you ever read that book he wrote a long time ago, The Absurdity of Consensual Crime in America? He was a really great libertarian. Passed away a few years ago. Did a lot to help promote medical use of marijuana.
Look,
But great book, The Absurdity of Consensual Crime in America. You know, there are those that would make everything that's fun illegal. I'm not one of them.
well, we'll have to list the benefits. Like one, here's I'm going to close out with this one last benefit that would.
Autistic kids do well with it. Go
Well,
ahead.
not just autistic kids. Think about it. Some of our greatest music has come from Willie Nelson. He's like the godfather of country. If that old man hadn't have been stoned all his life, we wouldn't have half the country music we have today. So, to all the potheads and country
Waylon
music listeners.
Jennings helped him.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
Johnny Cash.
And Chris Christopherson, God bless him.
Johnny Cash singing about being in Folsom Prison. He was never there. He was just high when he was thinking about it.
It's not like he didn't do any time, though.
Yeah, Stan
All
put
right.
hemp.
Well, listen, it's been a fast hour. Anything else you want to cover?
Nope, that's about
We
it.
covered the dishonest media. The media is dishonest, except One American News. We like them.
And IITW Radio, PAD.
ITW Radio, you can count on that.
Yeah.
You know, you need more than one news source, folks. Use your head and remember that just about everything political, CNN is deliberately reporting misinformation.
Yeah, Tammy said that one of our readers is very knowledgeable about the marijuana. Yeah, I'm going to have him on. I got it. He knows who I'm talking about. Give me a call tomorrow. You have my phone number, Stan, and we'll see about getting you on here. Maybe we'll bring him on with me and Greg one night.
Hey, maybe there's money to be made for everybody.
Oh, God, wouldn't that be nice? Finally get tired of doing free radio.
Hey, it'll be neat. You need to see how the show does next week because there's a lot of people interested in medical marijuana.
Yeah, that's what we'll do the show on next week. Anyways, I got to get out of here. I got to let you go, Greg.
It's got a patent on CBD oil. You know that, don't you?
Who does?
The American government has a patent on CBD oil, which is cannabinoid oil.
Oh, yeah.
Why do they have a patent on it? Because they know it works.
Yep. If they could figure out how to patent pot, they would be into it. All right, Greg. I will see you back here next. Yeah, we'll see you back here next Tuesday night. That hour went by quick.
Are you cutting me off?
Oh, buddy.
Well, good to see you, man.
Thanks, Greg.
Take care.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
All right, love the tie. Okay, that was Greg Williams, attorney at law up in Jacksonville, Florida. Chris can put his thing up real quick. There he is. Greg does everything except for murder cases, and a great lawyer, and one of my best friends. The guy kicks some butt. Anyhow, we got to get out of here. But you guys and gals, remember to keep your first responders. Paul Kirk was on here tonight. He's one of our first responders, working as a volunteer firefighter down in Georgetown. And I got to give my shout outs. I might as well go ahead and give one to Lee. We haven't put her picture up in a long time. See if we can find her picture up real quick before we have to get off of here. Lee's one of my best friends. So is Tammy, my partner in crime, Tammy Sanchez. You guys all have to check out her page, A Zen Lemon Tree. They talk about women's issues, whatever those are. I don't know. Could be menopause, could be periods, it could be guys that are assholes. I have no idea. But you guys will have to check out. And Tammy's got a radio show that's going to be starting here pretty soon. And remember to keep our veterans, the ones that are in overseas right now, the ones that are even serving here on our soil, out putting wrapping the barbed wire on the border. Keep these guys and gals in your prayers. Our sheriff's departments, our law enforcement, but mainly our volunteer firefighters. These guys bust their butts to save our lives. I got to give a shout out to Mama B. And let's see. Oh, my niece, Rosie. My nephews. My sister, Lori. She was watching tonight. Let's see. Annette, Audrey. I've already given Tammy a few shout outs. That's about it. And thank all you guys for listening, Stan and Donna and Frank and all you guys and gals for listening in tonight. We do appreciate it. We'll be back here Friday night. Now, Friday nights are some crazy. No, we'll be back here tomorrow night. Tomorrow night on the program, we have a special guest. Helen Hayes will be on here tomorrow night. And there's a program called Rebuild Florida. If you guys want to figure out or find out some information on how to get your mobile homes, in fact, if they're over 15 years old, she's going to tell you how you can get that replaced, some of them for free. But there still is assistance for houses that were messed up during hurricanes. And this goes back for a couple of years. So there's my friend Lee. Right there. She's a pretty thing. And her boyfriend's a big old man, too. He's one of my best friends, Ben. Anyhow, she's going to tell you guys and gals how you can go about getting extra funds and helping you out. And a lot of these are loans that are not loans. They're things that you don't have to pay back. Make sure you listen tomorrow night. She will be on here at 7 o'clock sharp, unless we have glitches like we did tonight. But between 7 and 7:30, we'll be back on here tomorrow night. I want to thank you guys and gals for listening. We love you very much. Be safe, and remember our first responders. Tonight we're closing out with, who we closing out with tonight? Austin Neal, Brothers in Arms. Great song. Remember to check out our advertisers that scroll after this, but listen to this song. It is kick butt. We opened up with Calvin O tonight. One Nation Under God. Calvin is kick butt artist. We're going to put some different music on tomorrow night and starting on Friday night as well. All right, we'll see you guys. I got to get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow night. God willing, the government don't get me first. We're out. Well, Mama B, I still want my lasagna.
See the guitar in the corner, it's the one I learned to play on. Believe me or not, it's been all around the world. It's been back and forth to Georgia, Carolina a couple times. But there's that one trip that takes me back in time. On a plane ride to a foreign land, a journey had begun. To a different time with my old man, watching the old dogs run, telling stories and comparing battle scars. Well, they're always among us, brothers in arms. Back to those nights of sitting there, writing letters home, to picking that old 6-string just to keep from feeling alone. Seen some tough times, some crying eyes, but never quit on me. Been through hell and back, even brought us back to where our hearts need to be. On a plane ride to a foreign land, a journey had begun. A different time with my old man, watching them old dogs run, telling stories and comparing battle scars. And they're always among us, brothers in arms. On a plane ride to a foreign land, a journey had begun. To a different time with my old man, watching them old dogs run, telling stories and comparing battle scars. Well, they're always among us, brothers in